changed the name of something that I've been saying all along about their new terminology. Gun control is not actually gun control, it's people control. Let me get some technical stuff out of the way first here, because this might start playing, and it is. There we go. They actually admitted this about gun control on live TV. The reason I put this is because mainstream media and government sources always couch terms in euphemistic language to kind of take the edge off of the truth of what they're really trying to do. And gun control is no different. When they say gun control, they're not trying to control inanimate objects. We all know this. They're trying to control people. But lately, they've been saying gun safety regulations. It's the same thing. It's just a more deceptive euphemism, and they need to do this because more and more people are waking up, and as more and more people are waking up, they have to take the sharp edge off of the truth and really the villainization of what they're trying to do to us. Really, they're trying to create a whole class of criminals who are just peaceful gun owners. Now, I did not intend for this channel to be just this championing the cause of gun rights channel, but it's deeper than that. It's not so much that I'm for gun rights, I am, but it's more that I'm for the rights of individuals. And no individual on this planet, and I keep on saying this, has a higher claim over your life and property than you. In other words, if you're not harming, threatening to harm, or steal somebody's stuff, or like just indiscriminately ruining the earth, nobody has a right to reach out their hand and touch you and apprehend you and make you do something against your will and without your consent. Nobody has that right. And let's approach this logically. Let's assume I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, if somebody does have a higher claim over your life and property than you, if somebody does have the right to reach out their hand and touch you and do evil things to you, then show me. But it has to be based on logic, truth, reason. It has to be in accordance with the golden rule, because if you go against the golden rule, basically what you're saying is, yeah, I have the right to reach out my hand and touch and harm another person or do something against their will and without their consent, and that's a-okay. And basically what you're saying when you say that is, and I don't mind that happening to me. And that's the golden rule. Is if you're stealing from somebody else, you're saying with your actions, I don't mind other people stealing from me. If you're reaching out your hand to hurt somebody else, then you're saying by your actions, I don't mind somebody reaching out their hand and hurting me. And that's a lie. It is an absolute lie. Nobody wants another person to come into their zone of influence and steal their purse or take their wallet or hit them in the nose or punch them in the back or stab them or hire a third party to take the product of their time and laboring energies, i.e. the IRS stealing from you. Nobody wants that. So we can tell that all these actions by the government and people who want the government to do these certain actions are acting on the plane of immorality. And that's really what it's all about. It's not so much, hey, I want to keep my guns. I was going to hold up my gun on the table, but maybe I shouldn't do that because they're going to, if you ever post something on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, that shows that you're partial to gun rights, you actually have put yourself in an arena where they're going to put you on a red flag list. And they're gonna make you subject to their psychologists and psychiatrists, and they're gonna determine whether you are mentally fit to own a firearm. They're going to determine whether you're a danger to yourself. They're going to determine whether you're a danger to other people. They are in the driver's seat. They get to define the terms, and they get to determine whether you are fit to pass this background check. Here, sign this 17-page document and give me $50. Another thing that we need to talk about before I get into this little thing right here is that if you want to be a victim, you're making a choice. That's your choice. I just dropped my glasses. And I'm not saying in every case, because you can unwittingly become a victim. You're standing in the post office, you didn't expect for something to go down, and somebody comes in and starts blowing people away, and you forgot your firearm in your car. Actually, you have made a choice in that situation. Wittingly or unwittingly, you weren't prepared. You didn't prepare yourself. And it doesn't matter at the point where those bullets start flying, whether you did it intentionally or whether you just forgot. You have made some kind of choice not to be prepared. Doesn't matter if you thought about it or not. Now you're in that situation, bullets are flying, it's about to pierce your skin, and you're going to get either seriously hurt or you're going to die. And it's because you made a choice. But people today are making a choice to be victims. And they're doing it in advance. They're planning this out. So when you get the Parkland kids who survived this alleged mass shooting, they're basically saying, we plan to be victims. We plan to put ourselves in a position where we have to trust the government to protect us. And that is no kind of moral position to be in. Because if you're putting yourself in a position where somebody else is going to have to come and save your ass and protect you, then what you're actually doing is saying, I don't really care about my life, and I don't care about my loved ones' lives, and I don't care about the lives of anybody in my zone of influence. I want just somebody to come and protect me. Pretty selfish. It's pretty selfish, and it's against human nature, because doesn't human nature dictate at all costs, I just want to maintain the level of survival. And if it takes me arming myself, maybe I'm scared of a weapon. Maybe I grew up all my life in some leftist democratic atmosphere where I was taught and I believed all the brainwashing that was handed down to me through my public school indoctrination program. Maybe I believe everything that fake stream media is trying to shove down my throat, and scary black AR-15s are indeed scary to me. Well, you got to get over that, and you got to do it by choice. You have to make a choice to either be a victim or to put yourself in the best possible position where you can emerge from any situation as the victor. Don't, and I constantly say this, don't expect somebody from the outside to save you. This ain't a movie. There's no hero that's going to come riding on a white horse and save your ass. There's nobody that's going to come and save your family. It's all on you. And you make a choice either to be a victim, or you make a choice to be offended. You know, being offended is a choice. And let's say you don't actually choose to be offended, but something happened that was offensive to you. You have a choice on how you react to that. And how these people are reacting is, not only do I want to be a victim, not only do I want to be offended, but I want to see to it that we pass legislation to where other people become victims. That's the bad part. If you want to be a victim for yourself, that's pretty much on you and your family, who should be depending on you, but they can't because you're depending on somebody else. But now you've crossed the line. Now you want me to be a victim. Now you want my audience to be a victim. Now you want my family and my community to be victims. And you want us to do it because you're scared and you're choosing to be scared. So I want to go into this. The reason I titled this video like this, and believe me guys, I tried to get on OBS and try to do it, but it was glitching on me and I didn't want this stream cut. So I think we can just make do with what we got. This is Ari Melber from MSNBC. Listen to his admission. I'm going to play this real quick and then I'm going to talk about it. Just listen to this really quick. This is very interesting. I'm going to turn up the volume here. What's going on here, guys, is insidious, and we can't stand for this. We all got to stand together. If we don't stand together, we will hang separately. And I'm telling you, they want us to hang. Can you guys see this? Okay, let's see. Is that, yeah, that's pretty good.
Now we turn to our special report tonight on gun safety reform. I say gun safety, not gun control, because while banning certain guns remains controversial, preventing certain people from buying guns, not controversial at all.
Okay, so he tried to inject that into our minds, okay? Now, I'm saying gun safety, not gun control. Why? Because while gun control might be controversial, you think gun control is controversial? You bet it's controversial, because it's not gun control, it's people control. And who in their right mind, who has two marbles rolling around in their head, wants to be controlled? Hold on, I'm looking in the wrong area. I'm looking in the wrong place right here. I got this thing set up here wrong. I got this new tripod, and I'm looking away from the camera. Let's see. Yeah, that's better. Now I can look in the place that I'm used to looking. So he's saying, I'm not saying gun control, that's controversial, but gun safety, everybody agrees on gun safety. You see how they shifted it? They shifted the euphemism from gun safety, from gun control, human control, people control, to gun safety. You would think that would equate to human safety, but it's really an extra layer of deception on top of gun control or people control. So when they're saying gun safety legislation, they are literally meaning gun control. They're still staying with the same thing, and then they're trying to talk their audience into everybody agrees with this. 90%. Standing Hoyer says 95% of Americans agree that we all need universal background checks. Come on. How are you going to stop the criminals unless you make them sign a bunch of papers and have the federal government check their background? You know criminals are going to submit to background checks. This ain't for criminals. It's not for stopping criminals. It's for stopping those law-abiding citizens. And that's why I hate the term law-abiding citizen, because you have to check off your mind and just obey a politician or obey a police officer. Just obey because we said so. No, I got some questions about this. Got a couple objections are rising in my mind. Couple red flags are going off. I don't think it's a good idea for me to just check my mind out and just obey you guys. How about that? How about asking some questions? How about critical thinking? Whatever happened to critical thinking? It's completely gone out the window, because when people tune into mainstream media and they listen to a president or they listen to a congressman or they listen to a senator, they just turn their minds off and they're like, I don't know why. Well, all the empirical evidence points to the fact that not only should we not believe these people are literally insane. They're power thirsty, power hungry, insane psychopaths. And we're going to listen to them. We're going to consent to them. We're going to call ourselves politicians, law-abiding citizens. Oh, by the way, speaking of talking like that, guess what's trending right now? 25 points on your next spelling test if you tell me what the number one trending thing is right now. While they're trying to they're initiating gun confiscation, what's trending? What's number one trending on Twitter? Let me take you to it. What do you think it is? I'm going to my mobile right now because mobile gives me an opportunity to press a resume button, whereas when I was on Streamlabs, it cut off the stream and then it started another stream. Then everybody who's in that previous stream isn't alerted to the next stream. That's why, 2 or 3 nights ago, I had 8 streams in a row because they kept cutting it off on me. So what's number one trending while they're initiating unconfiscation, while they're initiating human control, while they're initiating people control? Well, let's just get a little distracted with Sailor Twift. Sailor Twift announced her new, it's called Lover, 7.7 million views 20 hours ago. Isn't that great? Just distractions everywhere. And if you look at the top 20 of trending, it has nothing to do with your freedom. You know, it's like they will never top trend something that really matters, and there's a reason for that. People really want, I don't care if you're talking about the Silicon Valley gatekeepers or mainstream media or politicians. They never want you to focus on those things that are substantive, those things that actually have something to do with yours and my freedom. You know, if let's take a Sailor, I want to call her Sailor Twift. Let's take a Taylor Swift fan. We're actually fighting for the people who are making Taylor Swift trend into the top trending right now. We're fighting against them throwing us into concentration camps. Look at history, guys. Look at history. Concentration camps. Oh my gosh, unsubscribe. This guy is a conspiracy theorist. Look what happened in all the countries throughout history, that when power got so great, when the ring of power got so heavy, when that throne became so charged with bloodthirsty power, they start killing their citizens. And I'm not talking about ones and twosies or hundreds of or thousands. I'm talking about tens of millions of people killed by a government that they trusted, a government that they allowed to disarm them. And matter of fact, to the tune of, in the last 100 years, 250 million, that's 250 million people have died at the hands of a government that they laid down their arms, they let their arms get confiscated. This is in the last 100 years alone. Take my guns, I trust you. What could possibly go wrong? Well, I'll tell you what could go wrong. 250 million souls dead at the hands of a government that they trusted. That's what's going to go wrong. So we got time to focus on Taylor Swift, right? These people would be in concentration camps if people like you and I weren't manning the gates. I mean, bad things are happening right now, guys. I'm not trying to be an alarmist. People are like, you're fear-mongering. Wake up and smell the freaking coffee. It's rotten. There's something rotten in Denmark, and there's got to be watchmen on the wall. It's like nobody inside the city looks at the guys on the wall, the guys that are wall. Hey, there's an advancing army. Oh, you're such a fear monger. No, no, I'm serious. There's an advancing army, and they're like 2 miles away. I can see it. I can. Oh, come on. Yeah, come on. Pour another drink. Put on some Taylor Swift. Let's go dancing. It can't be that bad. You're just alarmed. You're just a conspiracy theorist up there on that wall. No, guys, I'm serious. It's advancing. You're just a fear monger. No. Okay, now they're 300 yards away. You guys got to do something because they're less than a football field away and they're about to storm the gates and break this thing down and you guys are about to die. Ah, you fear God. Look at him. Look at him. The poor little conspiracy theorist. Guys, people can watch Taylor Swift because we have freaking freedoms. I mean, it's the last vestiges of freedoms, but we still have some freedom. If you don't have freedom, you don't have anything. And that's why I try to champion the cause of gun rights. It's not about guns, it's about doing the moral thing. It's about taking the principled position. And I always hear people go, well, I disagree with Brian on a lot of things, but one thing we can agree on is gun rights. Okay, what do you disagree with? I mean, this truth is extreme, okay? One of my friends used to say this. It was Aaron from Storm Clouds Gathering. I think he came up with the quote. He said, truth is extreme, and to make it moderate is to lie. And here's how you make it moderate. Yeah, I disagree with him on so many things, but I agree with him on this. Hey, what do we disagree with? Because if I'm not speaking the truth here, I want to know it. I want to know specifically what I'm not speaking the truth on, and I want to amend my ways because I have one agenda here on this channel, and that's to unearth and come in line with the truth. Because I know, and you guys know too, if you don't cast yourself upon truth and let it break you to pieces, it will fall on you. And by break you to pieces, I mean, if you let the truth break you to pieces, let the truth assemble you back the way you're supposed to be. Because if you're not in line with truth, you're not in line with natural law. If you're not in line with natural law, you do not have balance in your life. If you don't have the truth, you ain't got nothing. Nothing. As a matter of fact, I'd rather be in slavery and have the truth than be in freedom and be coasting on a bed of lies and being comforted by lies. Lies are very comforting, very comforting. The truth hurts. So if anybody out there, and you know someone who I'm talking to, I'm not just talking to one person, I'm talking to a bunch of you. A lot of you have emailed me and said, well, I don't agree with you on everything. And you know, there may be some minute details, but if there's we need to major in the majors and minor in the minors. If you disagree with something on me in regards to individual liberty and freedom and truth and logic and self-control and real love, I'm not talking about democratic leftist love. I'm talking about real love and human compassion and interaction. And I want to know about it. Because if I'm not in line with it, I want to come in line with it real quick. Because if anything should scare you in this life is moving away from the fires of truth. And I've talked about this before. You've been around a campfire on a cold night. The closer you get to it, it's like, oh, this feels so good. And as soon as you turn away from it, the cold just takes you over and the heat completely leaves. We need to be living in the fires of truth. That's why I like that Samuel Adams quote. It's not the majority who will prevail, but the irate and tireless minority who are keen on setting brush fires of freedom and truth and human compassion and logic in the minds of men. That's what life, isn't that what life is all about? I'm not saying it's wrong to watch a Taylor Swift video. I'm just saying time after time after time after time, you see in top trending things that do not matter while our freedoms are slipping away. That's what I'm saying. And it's easy to be passionate about this because when you have truth overtake your heart, it's like it just pours out of you. That's the kind of person you are. It's like it's not so much that's the kind of person I want to be. It's that's what you become when you encounter the truth. You have a fire for truth. You have a hunger for righteousness. It's a righteous indignation and justice, and you can see through the BS. It's like this. Ari Melber just said, well, we're going to stop calling it gun control. And the reason I mock these people is because it is truly mockable. The reason we're not going to call it gun control, we're going to call it gun safety, because while, people may be divided on gun control because, gosh, it's so divisive, everybody can agree on gun safety. It's the same thing. They're just switching the terms, but the meaning stays the same. They're coming, guys. They are always coming. 24/7. Evil does not sleep. And if we slumber for a moment, we lose ground. And we can't lose ground. Cannot do it. This has to be your life. You're all in or you're not in. That's the bottom line. And people are like, what do you got against Trump? He's not a globalist. Look at his actions. His actions are no different from the actions of Obama. They're not different from, oh, we got a booming economy. What are you talking about? He's doing great for us. Guys, this is the illusion of prosperity brought to you by none other than the Federal Reserve banking cartel, the international banking cartel that controls every puppet politician, every one of them. We got to get it through our thick skulls who's really in control. If you need a refresher, go back to that Greenspan video where the 2020 guy goes, what should the relationship be between the Federal Reserve Chairman and the President of the United States? And Greenspan basically goes, he might as well say this. Pull it up. I'll put a link in there or try to make a separate video on it. I don't give a damn what the executive branch says. That's the president. I don't give a damn what the judiciary says. That's the judges. I don't give a damn what the legislative branch says. That's Congress. I don't give a damn what they say. As long as what they say doesn't conflict with what we say, everything's kosher. But if they take any kind of opposite road than what we're taking, sorry, we're going to have some trouble, guys. We're going to have some trouble. What's he saying? I'm in the driver's seat. Hey, president, get in the back. I'm driving. Hey, judiciary, get in the back. I'm driving. Hey, legislative branch, get in the back. I'm driving. I own Congress. I own the House. I own the Senate. I own the seat behind the desk at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and I got all the judges in my back pocket. It's my big club, and you ain't in it. It's my club. I hold all the chips. This is my Monopoly board game, and you can't say anything about it. Until we get to the point where we deal with the actual issue, we're not going to do anything. A doctor doesn't go in there and go, well, we'll just get these little tiny strands at the end of the cancer, but we're not going to actually get the cancer itself. We'll just deal with all these little bitty tiny micro capillary offshoots. No, it's like it's all or nothing. Okay, guys, if we're going in, we're taking everything, or we're not going to go in. That's exactly, and that's why I'm against censorship. That's why I'm against mainstream media. That's why I'm against politics, because it all rails against the truth. I did not mean to get off on this rant, but it's stuff that really, really needs to be said, guys. It's stuff that really needs to be said, and I'm just saying, take heed to the truth. Period. All politicians are liars. Do we know that? Well, no, obviously we don't, because people still go to the voting booth. They still press that button and pull that lever for their favorite psychopathic, parasitic politician. Why? Why? We know they're liars. We know they're hiding crap from us. We know they're going to write laws that take away our rights. We know they're going to write more laws that take away our money. We know they're going to fund projects that are completely wasteful. Why are we wasting our time consenting to the chains of our own slavery? Why? It's like, I don't even think they're the ones as much insane as we are. We have flipped our freaking lids. We are out of our freaking minds. Well, voting changes things. Really? Then why are we $22 freaking trillion in debt? And it doesn't matter if a Democrat or a Republican was in there. If things change, why are we in war after war after war? It doesn't matter if the GOP's in charge or the DNC. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Why is the Federal Reserve banking cartel still in power from 1913 to 2019? If voting changes things, how come none of that substantial thing has changed? How come? Ask yourself, does voting really change things? IRS, domestic terror cell, who takes 26 to 33 to 50%, and now Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wants to go all the way up to 70%. Oh, you gotta add on marginal tax rate, because that 10 million in one first dollar, that's going to be taxed at 70%. No, I'm sorry, you can't tax the 10 millionaire. It's theft. I don't go for that. Okay, it's a different story if that guy became a millionaire because of corporatism. That's just as bad as being a communist or a socialist. Corporatism is the government meddling in the capitalist system for the gain of some to the loss of others. And it's all manipulated. It's manipulation. We can stop that with a free market. We don't have a free market right now because we have something called Federal Reserve notes. They're not dollars, they're Federal Reserve notes, the FRN. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. Oh yeah, says who? Says who? Really? Just because you live in the land of deception doesn't mean you have to accept it. You can ask questions. All right, so So Taylor Swift is trending number 1. Jeez, man. Taylor Swift is trending number 1. Mr. Beast is trending number 2. Lil Tajay is look at the massive amounts of views. 7.7 million views in 20 hours, 10 million views in 22 hours, 1.3 million views in 22 hours. Look, it just goes on and on and on. Nothing substantial. Sports, entertainment, music. Oh, look, this is just so great. Well, we're losing our rights. I'm not saying it's bad to be entertained. I'm saying while we're being entertained, guess what the elites are foisting upon us? Gun confiscation. Now listen to Ari.
Think about it like this. We are a nation divided over all kinds of stuff, from Trump to abortion. But there's unity here. 9 out of 10 Americans support background checks to restrict dangerous people from buying a gun.
Do you really believe that? 9 out of 10 Americans. Do you really believe that? Let me go to my let me open up. Shoot. What do I need to open up here? I'll show you where that's not even true. We've already demonstrated that. Remember that C-SPAN video with Steny Hoyer saying all this crap? Now let's just go to my channel. This is my vlog channel on the community tab. Last community post. I'm conducting my own poll. I'll leave this link in the description below. This is my own poll. We're constantly being told by mainstream media and politicians that, and I quote, and I just said this, over 90% of Americans support universal background checks on all gun sales, including private sales, guys. They don't want you to buy a gun from your dad without them being involved. How insidious and corrupt and just psychopathic is that? Just wanting control. In order to determine whether the prospective buyer has been convicted of a felony, let's conduct our own poll. So I've got this poll going on, and so far what we've got is, and I'm just going to take these 2 top ones. You got 15% plus 8%, 23% either strongly favor or somewhat favor background checks, and 66% and 11% oppose background checks, somewhat oppose or strongly oppose background checks. Let's just give them these 3 top numbers. It's 66 to, it's 2/3. 2/3 say, I don't want freaking background checks. I strongly oppose background checks, period. End of question, end of story, end of question, end of conversation. This crap right here is BS. And even if it was true, it doesn't even matter if it's BS. Even if it was true, the basis for it is immoral, because what it's saying is the 90% can rule the 10% against their will and without their consent. Does that mean 90% of the people can get together in your neighborhood and say, hey, you need to cut your grass with a John Deere tractor? They can come against your will and without your consent and just arbitrary. Because if you have something with the Briggs and Stratton engine in it, well, that sets off some serious backfires, and that scares the neighborhood cats, and we can't have that. So 90% say, hey, you got to do your lawn with the John Deere, and you can only edge your lawn with a Husqvarna. Anything other than that, hey, I'm sorry, we're going to initiate unjust force and violence. What? You're putting the dogs and cats in the neighborhood at risk. You're causing their stress levels to go up. Cats are aborting their litters because every time you drive that Briggs and Stratton in the neighborhood, every time you cut your grass, all the backfires send them into a tailspin. God, just ridiculous, guys. So basically what they're saying is 90% can rule over and dictate the actions of the 10% to the extent that they can criminalize the remaining 10% for just possessing an inanimate object. I have a coffee mug because I don't have my gun on the table right now, but because you possess an inanimate object that they're either scared of, don't understand, or just think that it needs to be banned, it doesn't matter what the reason is, they want you criminalized because you have something in your possession that some madman yet used somewhere to blow a bunch of people away in a school or a post office or a bank. It's evil. We got to call this what it is. It's evil. I don't even know how else to put it. Nobody does that in regular human life, but it's easy to do that when you can get politicians to make these laws and then the law enforcers go and implement these laws.
Includes Republicans and gun owners, because you're using the law to make sure only law-abiding people get guns, and most
that's BS. You're not using the law to make sure only law abiders get guns. You're really not doing that. You're actually empowering criminals and putting them on a higher power plane than you are, because now you have to beg the government for permission. They're actually living as sovereign citizen free men as quote unquote criminals.
People find that pretty logical. Now, Donald Trump.
It's not logical at all. It's the epitome. It's the epitome of being against logic. It's the antithesis of logic.
May know that because after several mass shootings, he's claimed to agree with that majority of Americans, only to backtrack.
Okay, now listen to this very closely, guys. This is where we separate the men from the boys, because the boys want to stay in their little comfy security blanket of the cult of personality and not admit that what mainstream media is saying right here might possibly be true. I'm more against mainstream media than anybody I know. They're evil. He might as well have horns and a pitchfork in his hand. That's how evil I think mainstream media is. But that does not mean that the devil cannot speak some truth to confound your mind and make you go against the truth. So you can't be in the cult of personality when you hear this next clip that he's about to play, just because he's the devil who's playing it. All right? Just a little forewarning for you.
There's a great appetite, and I mean a very strong appetite, for background checks. And I think we can bring up background checks like we've never had before. We have to have meaningful background checks. We don't want to see crazy.
Now, let me just talk about the pre-Trump. We have to have background checks just to entertain that. Just to, and I know that people are going to say, well, that's Trump playing 4D and 5D chess, Brian. You don't understand what Trump is doing here. No. If you want to be a man, you just stand on principle and you let the chips fall where they may. You don't get involved in this 4D, 5D chess stuff. You be a man and you go, guess what? I put my freaking hand on the Bible to uphold the Second Amendment, and that's what I aim to do. Background checks, what is that? That's an infringement. I'm against it, period. That way you don't have to contradict yourself like you're about to hear him do. He contradicted himself, i.e. he lied. When you contradict yourself, you're lying. And this is a major issue, and he does this time and time again, period. To hell with 4D, 5D chess. Give me somebody who really cares about individual rights. Why am I against Trump? For the same reason I was against Obama. For the same reason I'm against Hillary Clinton. Thanks for the super chats, guys. Scott, Jerry, I'll deal with the super chats at the very end. I really appreciate it. Okay, so get out of the cult of personality and stand for freedom. Stand for morality and principle. Be a principled person.
People owning guns, but I also want to remember that mental illness is something nobody wants to talk about. We have very, very strong background checks right now. A lot of the people that put me...
Yeah, and you know what he should have said after that? We have very, very strong background checks right now, and I'm seeking to eliminate them because they come against shall not be infringed. And anything that comes against shall not be infringed, I, as the president, have responsibility to strike down. So expect an executive order forthcoming.
I am are strong believers in the Second Amendment, and I am also. And we have to be...
That is not true. If you are a strong believer in the Second Amendment, then you hold that above you would hold that above the water as you are drowning. That's how for the Second Amendment would be. And it's not even about the Second Amendment, guys. This is about standing for frickin' freedom. Bottom line, basic freedom, and nobody has the right to take that freedom away from any other individual ever. Under any circumstances, you don't give away freedom. As Benjamin Franklin said, if you would give away a little essential liberty, just a little essential liberty, just give it away. For a little temporary security, you deserve neither liberty nor security because you frickin' sold your soul. Period. Take a stand. That's why my channel's losing subscribers, because people take comfort in the cult of personality, and you can't say anything bad about Trump, and you can't say anything bad about Israel, and you can't say anything bad about the Federal Reserve. You just got to step in line.
Very careful about that. They call it the slippery slope. And all of a sudden, everything gets taken away.
So what happened right there is mainstream media rightly called out Donald Trump on his flip-flopping ways regarding the Second Amendment. It doesn't have to be like this. If Trump was truly for the Second Amendment, they couldn't pick up one single video clip where he contradicted himself. Why? Because taking the principled position is the only consistent position. You can't be backed. You can't be backed into a corner of hypocrisy. People can't pull audio and video clips on you saying one thing and then turning around and saying the other. Taking the principled position and taking the moral high ground actually puts you in a position to be the only person in the room who isn't a hypocrite.
That's Trump. That's his flip-flop. But Rick Ross said,
and that's true. Ari's right. Ari's the devil. He's with MSLSD. See, look, he's with MSLSD because they always be tripping. He's tripping. He's a devil, but he's right. He did flip-flop. Trump did flip-flop. Let's deal with that.
some things are deeper than rap. Some things are deeper than Trump. Because while he did that in days, Republicans in the NRA have made the same flip-flop shift. They just took years. After the Columbine shooting in 1999, gun violence was a flashpoint.
And again, MSLSD is speaking the truth here. They mix truth. They put a little skin of the truth and stuff this big, massive potato with a great big lie. That's their shtick.
9 out of 10 Americans still wanted to close that gun show loophole, identical to now.
By the way, I don't know if everybody knows what the gun show loophole is. I'm just going to read you this, okay? So you don't have to take my word for it. The gun show loophole refers to the fact that most states, and this is true, most states do not require background checks for firearms sold or traded at gun shows by private individuals. Because I don't know if you've ever been to a gun show, but when you go to a gun show, you've got these federally licensed or FFL dealers, and you can also buy weapons private party. They want to close this gun show loophole to force you to have to get a background check for every sale. That includes sales at your house. Like if somebody wanted to come over to your house and sell you an AR-15 or a little Springfield or something like that, you would have to sign. You would have to be involved in some way in the background check system. If you don't involve yourself, then you automatically become a criminal who is engaged in an illegal activity, and now you have what they would call an illegal weapon, and that's how they criminalize you. Now you can go to jail. You can literally. This is what should infuriate you. You will go to jail because you possess an inanimate object that they told you've got to go through their system to get. You have to beg government for permission so that you can have a background check. You got to sign their 17-page thing for this, and if you want a long rifle, their 14-page thing for this, and you got to submit your fingerprints, and in some cases, and then you got to pay the background check fee. You want permission to buy a gun? You have to come through daddy government. And if you don't do it, well, guess what? We just made you a criminal. You're not a criminal, not in reality. Because if you can't be a criminal if you don't leave a victim. Where there is no victim, there is no crime. No victim, no crime. It's very easy. But they've turned criminal into, you disobeyed the laws of politicians. You didn't submit to a background check. You have an illegally purchased firearm. You went through private means. You operated through the black market. You are a bad man or a bad woman, and we are going to punish you because you went against the laws of the church of the state and against our God called government. That's how convoluted and messed up this whole thing is, guys. Convoluted. It should piss you off. Am I triggered? Yeah. There's nothing wrong with being triggered. It's just that what's triggering you and what are you doing with it? You can have self-controlled trigger, righteous indignation. You're going to tell me that you're not going to be triggered if you guys are watching, trying to examine some news article tonight and 5 criminals break into your house. That's not going to trigger you to jump into action and defend your family. You're triggered, but you're rightly triggered. You're triggered by righteous indignation. You're not just going to lay over and just, okay, take all our stuff. You're going to be looking for ways to bring down the threat. And you ain't calling 911 to do it. You'll dial 9mm. Grab your 9mm, take care of business, go back to enjoying your TV. And if you feel like you have to call 911, just tell them to bring 5 body bags. So yeah, there's good triggering and there's bad triggering. We're always talking about SJWs being triggered. They're being triggered. Yeah, when you're being triggered for BS, when you're being triggered because you're just this little girl and you don't know how to deal with your feelings, that's one thing. But when you're being triggered because something made you righteously indignant, that is an entirely different thing on an entirely different planet and operating on an entirely different plane because you are a principled human being, and those are just the actions that principled human beings do. It's BS, man. It's all just BS. And the more I talk about it, it just gets you so fired up.
But if you look at the history at the time, 31 Senate Republicans voted in support of background checks with the NRA's
Who gives a damn? I don't care if it's 99%. You don't go against the 1%. It's immoral.
support, including the man who's the majority leader, Mitch McConnell. But that doesn't mean they made background checks a reality. Republicans cast those votes in a process where then other Republicans blocked the bill from becoming law because the House voted it down. 13 years after Columbine, another massacre at Sandy Hook. And look at the polling pattern. If you checked at the time, again, the vast majority of Americans and gun owners still supported background checks. But with a Democratic president and Barack Obama and a wider push for reform, there was more of the prospect that bill could actually become law. And dun dun dun, the Republicans shifted. This time only 4 Republicans in the Senate voted for those background checks. McConnell switched his vote to no, matching that wider shift I'm mentioning from the NRA. Now, some people forget all this history. It's actually important to understand today's standoff. The head of the NRA, Wayne LaPierre, faced Congress after Columbine, and he supported background checks. This was
okay. Now MSLSD is going to rightly call out the CEO of the NRA, Wayne LaPierre, rightly.
Back when he was the NRA vice president.
Let's talk about what's reasonable and what's not. We think it's reasonable to provide mandatory instant criminal background checks for every sale at every gun show.
Do you know what he's saying there? The CEO of the National Rifle Association, championing the cause of the Second Amendment, said, we think it's reasonable to infringe. Can you get more dumbass? Can you get more bottom of the barrel than that? I mean, you have to lift the barrel to get lower than that. Let's lift the barrel and find Wayne LaPierre compromising on your rights. You 5 million members of the NRA, wake up, smell the coffee, go to the Gun Owners of America. The Gun Owners of America is the only organization, I think there's another one, but I can never remember it, but the Gun Owners of America under Pratt is the only no compromise gun lobby, if you want to call them a lobby, that I know of. Sign up for the NRA. I'm not getting a kickback for that. I'm just saying, if we don't stand together, we will all hang separately. If you want somebody who's serious about upholding and championing the cause of the Second Amendment shall not be infringed, gosh, that's so easy. It's so easy. A little 5-year-old kid could go, oh, geez, I don't even know how you can misconstrue that. I don't even know what the word misconstrue means, but I know what shall not be infringed means. If you put anybody, I've said this before, man, but an infringement is a paper's width of barrier. If you put any barrier, if you put feathers width or a grain of sand weight on any right, you just infringed. Background checks, infringement. Bump stock bans, infringement. But we don't need bump stock bans, infringement. But I've never heard of a bump stock, infringement. But bump stocks are inefficient and we really don't need them, infringement. That's why you can't give them an inch, they will take a mile. Scary black AR-15 assault-style weapons that only belong on the battlefield. We need to ban those. Infringement. If I was the president of the National Rifle Association, first of all, I wouldn't be seeking to purchase a $10 million freaking mansion and wearing $39,000 worth of clothes. Did you see that? All the stuff that's going on and how they just squandered the wealth of their members when they should be just using that to go, hey, I'm upholding shall not be infringed. If I was Wayne LaPierre, I'd be going, I got no shame and I've been morally consistent on this whole thing. And I've held the principled position that you have no right to take somebody else's gun against their will and without their consent. Who the hell do you think you are? Prove that your laws apply to us. It'd be so easy to be the freaking president of the United States. You don't even have to do anything. I'm not making any laws. Matter of fact, while I'm here, I'm going to eradicate all the laws that I'm pressing the reset button. Here's my one executive order is I'm eliminating all the laws in the land. And we're starting from scratch. And we don't start by making new laws. We start by recognizing universal natural law. How's that? If you're president, if you're the leader of the free freaking world, if you're the commander in chief of the armed forces, then you're at the top of the heap. This just right here proves that they are not at the top of the heap because they can't keep their words. If there's one thing you do when you're on the top of the heap is you would keep your word. You wouldn't care what anybody else said. There's no repercussions if you're on the top of the heap, but they're not on the top of the heap. The Federal Reserve is on the top of the heap. They are the kings of the world. The Rothschilds, the House of Saud. They're all in cahoots together and they control the princes and the kings and the presidents and the czars. They are in the driver's seat. So if I was Wayne LaPierre, I'd be going, I would be maybe using just frick you, F you. shall not be infringed. F you. Every congressman go, well, what about all the deaths? 100 people died. F you. Shall not be infringed. That's my case. I'm resting my case on shall not be infringed. 4 words, 4 simple words, 4 in the words of Trump, 4 beautiful words, 4 lovely, beautiful, fantastical words. Shall not be infringed. Next question. Any other questions? Hey, let's talk about shall not be infringed again. 4 beautiful, lovely words. I love to hear them. Come on, mainstream media, fake stream media. Repeat after me, come on, CNN, Jim Acosta, I don't hear you back there in the background. Get rid of that guy. No, don't get rid of him. I'm not for censorship. I want to get rid of him, but I'm not going to because everybody has a right to say the crap that they say. Especially you, Jim. 4 beautiful words shall not be infringed. I don't hear anything else. It would keep Trump out of being a hypocrite. I'm the leader of the dang free world. I don't need to be a hypocrite. I'm just going to stick by my word. But because he's not a principled person, he can't do that. Because Wayne LaPierre is not a principled person, he can't do that. Eric Pratt will do it at the Gun Owners of America. Didn't mean to plug Gun Owners of America, but there you go. That's truth is truth. If I find out that 1 iota that Gun Owners of America has budged 1 nanoparticle away from shall not be infringed, I won't support them. Period. But NRA and Wayne LaPierre and Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and Barack Obama have all sold out. They don't care about your rights. They're not passionate for truth. They don't give a damn about that. They want to institute gun control. Oh, scratch that. We can't call it gun control anymore. They want to institute gun safety legislation, and they want to do it by exploiting children. How do they exploit children? These people. I'm not going to say their names because if I say their names, it's going to go on the algorithm. And if it goes on the algorithm, they don't get my channel shut down. But they're going to obey the words of these people. The politicians are pushing these people out front and center again. Just roll them out. Hey, bring these 2 people, bring that whole group out of the closet again so that we can exploit them and pimp them out so that we can take more rights from the American citizens. B freaking S. BS. I'll just deal with some super chats, and if you guys got anything else you want me to add to this, that's pretty much it. They're layering euphemistic language on top of their euphemistic language. That's the bottom line. I really didn't expect. I expected this to be like a 10-minute video, guys. It's been going on for 45 minutes. Everybody okay? 47 minutes. Everybody good? Are we good to keep on going? I don't want to assume that people want to just keep on hearing my rant. I guess you could click off, huh? Are we all right? Biden 2020. That reminds me, somebody said Biden 2020. I got this. This is a freshly designed, original design right there. The Biden creepy Uncle Joe Biden shirt. If you need a torso lift, there's Biden to put his hands on the deal. I'll leave that link in the description if you want one of those. I got tons of shirts like that. I mean, can you imagine having a political psychopath ruling you, making laws that take away your rights and take more money out of your pockets? What are we thinking? What are we freaking thinking? All right, super chats. I'm sweating. Jeez. Babe, are you laughing at me? Babe, come here and be passionate with me. Babe, no, come on. Who wants to see Trish be passionate with me? Come on. You're obnoxious. What? I'm I guess I can be. Yeah, see, they want you to come on, babe. Come on.
No, I will next time.
You will next time? You promise? Okay.
No.
Seth Black says, I'm with you. Thanks for the super chat. Seth Black. Shout out to Seth. Scott Jerry, great work, Brian. Go to Serratic for rifle builds. No FFL and no serial numbers on the rifles or pistols. Buy 1 or 2 Ceratec. Let me see. I've never even seen that. Let's see. I got this stand finally. Now I can go hands-free without trying to prop it up on the desk. It's too close to my mug. Ceratec. Am I saying that right? It's CERATAC for rifle builds. No FFL, no serials. See, if we don't fight for our rights, it's just a matter of time before they shut these people down. It's just a matter of time. I mean, All right, I'll look at this. Cheapest AR build, Saratac. Saratac AR. Okay, I'll have to look at this because I'm not familiar with them. But thanks, Scott Jerry. And Mr. Uncensored, I like that. I like that screen name. Mr. Uncensored, the U.S. Constitution is a scam. It does create a centralized tyranny. Read the anti-federal. And, to an extent, I agree with you. That's why I stay with the Bill of Rights, because I like what Lysander Spooner said. He said, whether the Constitution be one thing or another, much is certain. It's either authorized a government as we've had, and that's the corrupt government that we have, or it's been powerless to resist it. In either case, it's unfit to exist. A piece of paper called the Constitution or a piece of paper called the Second Amendment doesn't protect you. You know what does protect you? It's making a strong reputation-based community where you all literally have each other's backs. Can you imagine if you live in a town of 10,000, if like 2,000, just 20%, 2,000 of those were all minded and took individual liberties seriously? That way, anytime there was a cop, and there really wouldn't be a cop in this town that does this, anytime there was a cop who is pulling over, generating tickets are, that's laws, especially local laws and federal laws, serve two primary purposes. It's a transfer of power from the people to the government, to the agents of government who are just other people, which means you decrease in power, they increase in power. And number two, it generates revenues for the state. It fills the coffers of the state functionaries so that they can enact more evil against you. So can you imagine a town of just 10,000 people where 20% really had each other's backs? They were solid on individual liberties. They love liberty and they're not going to let it go. Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, all that stuff. And anytime anybody came in from the outside, FBI, CIA, DEA, came in and gave people a hard time, we'd have, I don't have my, oh, I'm recording on my cell phone. If you have an app on your cell phone. I think Schaefer Cox was trying to put this together before he got thrown in prison for nothing. He's rotting in prison for a 26-year sentence after having done nothing but basically exposed pedophilia in the higher echelons of government starting in Alaska. So anyway, you have this app and you press this app when somebody comes to your door and immediately 2,000 people get this response, 10% or 200 people show up, surround your house and protect you and say, if he's going, I'm going. And then 200 more show up and then 200 more. And guys, this is not a pipe dream. I know it seems distant, but if we all get the fire of truth and freedom in our minds, anytime you saw a cop pull somebody over, imagine 10 people pulling up behind that cop and everybody surrounding with cameras. Just, hey, what's going on here? You out here generating revenue? How is what you're doing consistent with your oath of office? Are you an oath breaker or are you an oath keeper? And just giving that cop a hard time. I'm not calling for violence. I'm calling for peace. But I'm calling for a reputation-based community who's not going to budge 1 inch on individual rights, who's going to hold and champion the cause of the golden rule above everything else. That's basically life. Can you imagine what kind of world we live in? It would be awesome. I mean, literally, you hear the word awesome being thrown around so much, but it would literally be awesome. I can't even think of anything more awesome. And it's more than a feeling, man. Facts don't care about your feeling. It's just this fact-based, moral-based, principled position that you can't assail that. Nothing can come against that. Nothing. MGC, the truth. When are you getting on Discord, my man? I am on Discord. So let me go to my Discord thing right now and give you. I'm on Discord under High Impact Flick. So let me give you a link. Actually, I should have thrown this in the box before. And I have a voice and text chat. The voice chat is called Shooting the Breeze. And I don't have time for it today. Well, maybe I'll spend 5 minutes in there after this, but let me put this, 5 minutes is about all I got too. I'm going to put the link in the box right now. So if you guys want to voice chat, we can do that. I am on Discord. No man above any other. I like that. I'm going to drop it in the box, and I'll like blitz so it doesn't get lost in the comments. My voice Discord. I appreciate you guys hanging out, by the way. Here's my voice Discord link. I'm just going to blitz it real quick. because just go and join my server, guys. Actually, even when I'm not in there, there's a whole bunch of good people in there that are spouting a whole bunch of cool liberty stuff. You know, you'll get trolls in there every once in a while. I still don't censor them. Every once in a while, I'll have my moderators, or they'll just exercise their own discernment and go, you know what? Like somebody sitting on their mic and nobody can talk. You know, you can call that censorship if you want to, but that's just kind of keeping the peace. If somebody's just going to go blah, 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 which I've seen before, and they're just going to be totally nonsensical and nobody can get in on words edgewise, we'll mute them. Or, you know, if it's too extreme, we'll just keep them off there for a day or two or whatever. But that's the only time I really get rid of people. I've never personally done it, but other people have. And I don't mind them doing that because you got to have some kind of order in there. When are you getting on Discord? That's MGC The Truth. And thanks for the super chat. And also Honda 720. Honda 720. Hey, I do a conspiracy chat on my channel called the Gay Frog Chat. I wonder where that comes from. Hey, babe, can you do your best gay frog impression of Alex Jones?
No, but I'm sure you can.
You're turning the freaking frogs gay. If you listen to the context of what Alex Jones says that in, it's not really that conspiratorial. What's that stuff, babe? Benzene, or there's something that actually changed the chemical makeup of frogs. Anyway, it's pretty interesting.
It's a hormone in the water. I think.
Yeah, the hormone. You're turning the freaking frog gay. So Honda 720 has a channel called the Gay Frog Chat. This week we're doing episode 12, the Federal Reserve Bank, #end the Fed. Yeah, check that out, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the chat. So if somebody wants to, you're turning the freaking frogs gay. Alex Jones. Check out Honda, guys. Pretty interesting stuff. Cool channel, Gay Frog Chat. Don't expect that to be the gatekeepers won't like that name. All right, guys. So anybody got anything? I appreciate you guys hanging out. I'm gonna keep this. It's at 57 minutes. I'm gonna keep it under an hour. Please share these videos. The only way, I don't know if you've seen my Social Blade stats, but they suck. It's like they intentionally try to tank stuff. I don't even know what to say. It's not just happening to my channel. It's happening to all the channels. My main channel has literally gone for almost 2 solid months with all negative subscribers. I think I showed it to you last week. But if you go to High Impact Flicks on Social Blade, you'll see it. The last 2 weeks, there was one day where I got a positive. It was a +2, and the rest of them were like -50, -40, -188. It's crazy. On a channel that has 570 freaking subscribers, I can only get like 20,000 views. Interesting. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys hanging out. The bottom line to this video right here is that they're going to try to change terminology on us. We already anticipated this. We predicted this. We could see it coming. It's not because we're rocket scientists. It's just because that's how their evil minds work, as they've shown us. But they're trying to convert gun control because they want to take that, control sounds a little bit too much like control, I guess. So we're going to go from gun control to gun safety regulations, because while people may disagree with gun control and people get all hot and bothered about that, everybody can agree with gun safety, right? Gun control bad. Gun safety good. Gun control bad. Gun safety is so great. It's wonderful for everybody. And 90 to 95% of the people, I'm slobbering, agree with it. So that's the insidious nature of this. People who are against the Second Amendment on any level, light or heavy, against gun control 2.0 or against gun control 4.0, it's against the concept and the precept of the golden rule, period. There's nothing else to really say about that. So when somebody wants a background check, they actually want, in the background check they're talking about, in the context that they're talking about it is the initiation of force on you, unless you fill out their paper. There's a little paper right there, this very important piece of paper, this very important, very lovely piece of paper that will keep everybody safe, this piece of paper that will cause criminals to go, I need to get a background check, I guess I can't have a gun. Yeah, right. It works like that in the real world, doesn't it? Anyway, I appreciate every single one of you guys. Share this video. I will see you guys in the next heavily censored, demonetized, and fully suppressed video. I appreciate you guys. Take care.